Alright guys, such comic again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your take. So far, Championship Sunday at the Esports World Cup. 4 teams remain. Whether OpTic Gaming can get the back-to-back victories at the near enough $2 million tournaments that have happened over the last few weeks, that will depend on what happens on the server today. Shotzzy talking about how they're going to make that happen. And Clayster also exposing what Pred, it seems, was up to this weekend. Clay revealing the $50,000 EWC prize for the highest KD of the tournament may have influenced Pred's plays on the map. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. Big thanks to PrizePicks as well, supporting the content this weekend. If you guys want to get involved in daily fantasy, look at the link in the description box below or use the QR code on screen. Download the app, use code Breaking Points, claim $50 on your first $5 pick. Mercules continues to be an absolute revelation here, 1.09 more or less than in the series against Heretics, and of course it's also Toronto versus Surge. That is the team on the other side of the bracket, or well, one of those teams of course, will be in the grand finals of the tournament. Play responsibly if you choose to do so. We're going to talk about a bit of Rostermania as we get the video underway, and we're going to start here. So this is a Halo clip, yes, I understand that, but this is Legend, right? OpTic Halo player who confirmed 2 days ago that he will be playing Call of Duty next year. That is his intention, because the Halo scene is pretty much getting called a day, and this guy is insane. Like, genuinely, the talent here is out of control, and I mean, he literally puts this out to one of the most insane ranked clips you're probably ever going to see. Now, this guy, could he be a next HyDra, right? Like, could he be a next top-level player? You know, you never really know. People are going to say, oh, could he be the next Billy Mental, right? Because Mental is now a solid Halo player and is doing good stuff over there, but, you know, Mental was the Gears of War GOAT, came to COD on LAG, didn't really go to plan. But this is the question for some of these teams making roster decisions this off-season, and that's why it gets so interesting for teams like Thieves and FaZe especially, and it's going to trickle down the league. There are so many options. Assuming OpTic stick it out, which 99% they will, based on the way they've played over champs in this tournament. FaZe, Thieves, Surge, every other team in the conversation. You know, not even like Surge want to make a change, but they may be forced to, depending who comes knocking at the door. You never really know. And then you've got a boatload of Halo players that may come over as well. We know the success that Frosty had when he came over. And at the end of the day, Shotzzy is cooking the whole league right now. And this guy won the Halo World Championship in 2018. And so, well, Huke didn't win the World Championship, but he did want a chip in Halo. So, anyway, CDC Intel talks about it because there is going to be this debate, and we'll continue having this debate, I think, over the coming weeks. Look, the Halo pros may come over. Will they get picked up straight away, or will the decision of the teams be to pick up the Challengers players first? What's fair, what's not fair? I mean, look, it's very interesting, right? It's not a conversation that I wanted to have today, but it's just something I thought I would throw out there. Speaking of the coaches, I just wanted to share what Zinni had to say and wanted your guys' perspective really in the comments on what do you think about this coaching thing so far? Because there was so much drama going into this tournament. I was down for it because it's something different, right? And people say, oh, it makes it a Mickey Mouse tournament. Now, the coaches don't really say much, right? They stand behind the players, they gas up their guys on occasion, they call out a couple of things, you know, last alive, look for this guy or whatever, but they're not really getting that involved. It's not like the coaches are changing the game dramatically to the point where communication is not still a skill gap. It clearly is a skill gap. There was a thought that maybe having Crowder in the comms for FaZe would actually make their comms better. If anything, their comms sounded the worst they ever have. So it's not, let's say, reduce the skill gap, like, you know, Zinni and Octane were talking about, that it was going to cook the skill gap and it was going to ruin the game on some level. You know, I don't really think it's done that based on what we've seen so far. Whether it would do that in time, because let's be real, the coaches had a couple of days of prep, and that's what Zinni says. But, you know, I might have overestimated their in-game impact. Adds a cool component for the viewer without impacting comp integrity negatively as of right now, which I'm inclined to agree. If it stays like this, I would prefer this to be a thing all the time. Whether the coaches would is another question, because it means they've got to do more work for the same pay. But look, I think it's a pretty cool element that, you know, as Zinni, I think, said, it would be nice to at least see it trialed, or maybe it wasn't Zinni, it was, Den's in the replies, who said he would like to see it at least trialed for the first part of the CDL season to see how it goes. Because I think probably most fans, having watched this tournament, think it's kind of a cool factor. I also think for, like, new viewers to see that there's a coach behind them, I think it's just kind of like a nice thing. It makes it a little bit more, it equates it a bit more to a regular sport that people are more familiar with. So I think as of right now, it's actually a positive on the whole, having the coaches with the players, but that may change over time. But I think I've been pretty happy with the experiment as it's gone down so far. Another thing I wanted to mention here was from Boston Breach, because there have been loads of questions whether this org is going to disappear. look, what I will say is Ravens, thankfully, have not been tweeting anything like this. But Boston say, lots of questions whether we'll be around. And then they play, the music they play in the background is that Diddy song, Bad Boys for Life, when they start out with, we ain't going nowhere, right? So basically, that's what Boston are saying here. And Adam Morrison as well says, looking forward to raising the bar even further from where we left it in Black Ops 6, thanks to all the fans and supporters. Wonder what they'll do with their roster next year, because they had this team at the World Cup last year. They've gone through a whole year of it, and they've done okay. But, they'll probably feel like they could do better, right, in the off-season. I'd be surprised if they can't run this team back again, surely. And also, there may be interest in Snoopy, potentially, FaZe Purge, people have been talking about, although rather unlikely. But anyway, Boston are speaking as if they ain't going anywhere. So, presumably, the Boston Breach organisation is set to stay. Maybe that means there's only one org for sale, because I don't think the Ravens are going to, at least if they have an opportunity to potentially sell to an organisation with some resources, I think they will certainly entertain those discussions. Rostermania will be a big talking point. I'm not going to get into it in great detail, of course, today, because it's all going to happen over the next few days after this tournament concludes. I will just quickly say from Scrappy did this tweet, and he says, I don't understand what happened to us. We saw the tweet yesterday, and CDL Hater says, get rid of that bum Envoy, it's not you. And Scrap then says, of course, he's here with Envoy for some time, on Toronto, now on Thieves. He also brought Envoy over, right? This is the interesting thing to note here. Ghosty was on Thieves. He stayed on Thieves, and he was on the Thieves team, of course, at the end of last season. That did rather well at the World Cup and made the finals. Let's not forget where they lost to FaZe. Whereas this time around, Scrappy came over with HyDra, and they needed a fourth, and Scrap was clearly on board and wanted that man to be Envoy, bringing him over from Toronto. That's what he did, and as Scrap says, that kid has won more than most players could ever dream of. You're a peasant behind a phone screen. So, look, Scrap isn't wrong on some level, certainly, the first part of the sentence there. But, the point is that is Scrap going to, make this change, or who really is going to call the shots over there? The reality is that Scrap and HyDra as a duo, they should not be going anywhere anytime soon. They are, I think based on what's happened in the last couple of tournaments, you would probably give best duo in the game to one of the duos on OpTic, whatever way you want to look at that. But to me, Scrap and HyDra are still they are the duo of in terms of pure ceiling and where I would expect them to finish in the MVP conversations next year. Scrap and HyDra are still just an unfathomably good duo ARSMG. So they ain't going anywhere, and they should team together for a long time, I think, to come. What they do with the rest of that team, that is a very interesting question. There's also just been some theories thrown around as well on, what Rocker might be. Michael throws around Kenny, Drazah, Envoy, and Craze, which is a pretty interesting one. I wouldn't be surprised to see Kenny and Drazah look to run it back. Whether they run it back with Envoy as well, that would be pretty interesting. Obviously, it would form very near enough to what was the Thieves team a few years ago, but with no Octane. So just something to keep in mind as we get into the Rostermania period, which is going to be chaotic to follow. But a couple of clips I wanted to share. One from Scrappy bowing out of the tournament, saying thanks to the fans, but also clearly frustrated with the way things have gone. Shotzzy as well, giving his perspective on what they've got to do to actually win today on the Championship Sunday. But maybe the most entertaining clip to share was this one from Clay. Of course, Clay's out there in Riyadh with the guys, but his comments were pretty hilarious, really, on the situation. Now, I'd actually forgotten that this was a thing, but I will say that it makes a lot of sense watching Preds play so far this weekend, because in that series against War, this guy, he was doing everything possible to secure the kills. There were so many moments where he could have hit the hill first and baited for a teammate, but he didn't. He went the other way. Of course, we know when he was baiting TJ Halley at the final round of that Boston game, and as a result of that, Preds' numbers this tournament were pretty damn good. Not, however, the highest KD overall. So Preds currently sitting at a 1.24. Of course, he's already out of the tournament. The only real contenders here, Mercules is at a 1.2, potentially could get better. Insight's at a 1.24, but that could go down today against Surge. And JoeDeceives at a 1.32, which again could go down today against Surge. So, yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting in terms of this race for the highest KD, but I don't know if these other players are already thinking about that. I actually kind of forgot that it was a thing, because it happened last year, and presumably Cellium won it, because he had a 1.38 to win the tournament. And this year, here, Clay reckons that it was certainly on Pred's mind that there was this 50k bag on offer for getting the highest KD in the tournament, and therefore Pred was going all out to make that happen, potentially at the expense of the team actually winning matches, which is, well, it's going to be a debate, isn't it, as to the way this team environment handles these discussions going forwards.
Boys, for 100 Thieves,
are you a no sabo kid? Be honest.
What a season
Be honest
it
if you don't
has
speak
been.
Spanish
A lot
either.
of amazing moments on the main stage throughout the year for you, Scrap. You guys don't get the job done today. What happened here in this matchup with OpTic?
Yeah, you know, they were a better team at the end of the year than us. We didn't have good practice. Honestly, the practice was better going into this tournament, but obviously it didn't show.
Yeah, it just didn't come together here towards the end. Now, you know, being here in Riyadh with these fans, I know you guys have received a lot of love. You got a bunch of fans here in the front. What has the experience been like for you, man?
I mean, Saudi Arabia, this shit is insane, bro. Like, I've never seen a production at this level. The fans are unbelievable. I appreciate all of you. And yeah, man, it sucks.
Ernie was shooting.
It does,
Gotta
but
give it to
you know, when it comes
he's
down to the
fuming.
Thieves,
Oh,
a
yeah, he's definitely
fantastic
mad.
season for you guys. You go back to back. Just kind of, you know, just thinking about it all as a whole, how do you feel about what you and the boys were able to do this year?
Yeah, you know, I don't want to get emotional because, like, this shit means so much to me, guys. You don't understand. But the season as a whole was good, I guess. But to be honest, the end of the year is a failure. I'm here to win the big tournaments. The majors are kind of just like a stepping stone. And yeah, it is what it is.
3, you're an EWC champion, okay? Some back-to-back stuff. How y'all plan on getting it done?
Honestly, just sticking to what we've been doing in practice. I feel like, honestly, what we've been doing is kind of just consistent. As long as we stick to our game plan, trust each other, I feel like we're the best 4 players in the game right now, and just do us, and we'll get it done.
Hey, it's as simple as that, okay? You guys are world champions in your own right. And, you know,
Back to back.
Right? Ready to go to back-to-back. And what do you want to say to the Green Wall fans out there? Because I know it's some in the venue. They everywhere. We got a crowd all around us, and it's a bunch in the chat. What you want to say to them?
Yeah, we got Kyler's dad right here. No, yeah, shout out the Green Wall. I know the time zone are a little bit tricky, but we appreciate you guys for watching, always supporting the boys, and it should be a good one.
It's going to be a good one, y'all. Don't go nowhere.
KD out here right here?
I don't know, where's Dashy going?
That 50k bonus, baby.
Where's Dashy going?
50k bonus for what?
Top KD, 50k.
Oh, what?
I think AG has it locked in.
Yeah, no, isn't that crazy? Top KD
Wait.
is an extra 50 grand.
Yeah, AG has like a 1.5.
I think AG has it locked in.
I'm a vote playing for KD now. That's crazy, man.
AG played an AM team in Boston, bro. He was farming.
Yo, TJ, get on the hill, bro.
Yo, TJ, bro, I'll split it with you, bro.
I'll split it, bro. Just open my heels, bro. Please, just run from me, bro. I'll split it, bro.
That's funny.
That's such a good play out of Pred. That's a come up.
Hit the hill, bro.
12v12. All you need is one
Couple
set
nice
of kills.
parlays right there.
None of them are
Hell yeah.
going your way.
It's almost
HyDra
like
in a
parlay.
very crucial position. He
is
needs his teammates to win some one-on-ones. There's a fight happening over towards window.
Fred was actually trying.
Wow, that's good shot from Chicago.
Dashy, goodness me.
Dude, watching him play when he hits flow is actually...
The last time OpTic went back-to-back in tournaments was 2017, when the World Champions won, of course, the events before the World Championship, and then they won champs just a couple of weekends after that. 2,900 days ago, OpTic Gaming went back-to-back, and, well, they've got the chance to do so again here with the victory at the World Championship a few weeks ago, and now the Esports World Cup. They come in as the favourites today. Mercules, by the way, is looking to join a rather exclusive club and could be the second Merc on this list, can you believe? So these are the only players to ever win 2 of their first 4 ever career LAN events. Of course, Mercules came in, he was, 3rd, then he was Toronto, then he was 4th with OpTic, then he was 1st with OpTic, and now he's potentially, well, we'll see what happens today. Scump, Aches, TP, Big Timer, Rambo, Merc, Miracles, and Simp, only the players that have ever done it, looking to become maybe the 9th player to ever do it. And yeah, I think Kremp was maybe initially on here, but actually he wasn't technically, so it is what it is. Merc, the real Merc, not the real Merc, you know what I'm saying, the OG Merc says good company for sure. And this is the bracket of today. So there's 4 matches today. Last year there was no consolation final. This year there is. So it is, I will say, for Pred's sake, this is great news for him because it means that, let's say, hypothetically, JoeDeceives has a 1.2 and therefore his KD stays above Pred's. he loses to Surge, he then has to play again. So both of the series, like JoeDeceives and Insight are the two players that are above Pred and KD right now. They have to play 2 games today, and 2 games against what will be difficult teams. So Pred's probably licking his lips right now, thinking about that 50k that may be coming his way at the end of today. But it's OpTic Heretics, it's Toronto, I'm still going to call them that for now, versus Surge. 4 great teams. Can anyone stop OpTic? I think, like, look, both teams here can. Heretics are always capable in a best of 5. If Metals plays well, Heretics can do it, but OpTic just looked too good from top to bottom. So I think OpTic, I'll take him in a 3-1. You know how it is. We love a 3-1 fashion. And then Surge Toronto, very, very interesting series to me. I actually think this is going to be really competitive, but I think I'm going to take Surge in 5. I think I'm just going to give them the slight edge. And then, of course, we've got an OpTic Surge Grand Finals. Look, I would love to see... I know also, I can genuinely see, like, Toronto winning this, by the way. Like, I think Insight... This tournament has not been good for Beans' stock, let's just put it that way. He's left this team, CleanX is on the flex doing a killer job, Insight looks like a new man, JoeDeceives is frying, aBeZy holding his own. Like, that team is really solid right now, so I can see them doing some damage here, and in a single elimination best of 5, it's very, very difficult to call, but it's also very, very difficult to look past OpTic Gaming to go back-to-back and win the World Cup and the World Championship as well. So very much interested in your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.